Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the men's Division I heavyweight matchup between Princeton University and the U.S. Naval Academy here at Carnegie Lake in Princeton, New Jersey. My name is Chris Ferragine.
And this is Isaac Ward. We've got Princeton in lane 2 wearing white unis and in the yellow boat, and Navy wearing gold unis with blue undershirts and also in a yellow boat in lane 3.
This is the 5V matchup. We have some pretty clear water out here right now, just about to hit 9 o'clock in the a.m.
What?
And we look like sitting around 42 degrees with some winds coming in at northwest winds of about 5 miles per hour. Nothing too effective of the water conditions. It's looking pretty glassy out there. Should make for some beautiful racing. Boats are setting up here for the start. And here we go with the first race of the day. Men's heavyweight, Division I, Princeton 5V versus Navy 5V. Off to a pretty powerful start here. Looks like both boats are sitting about even in these first 20 strokes of the race. With Navy now, about 20 strokes in, up by about a seat on the Princeton 5V.
Yeah, Navy with a good start here. Looks like they've taken an early 2-seat lead. We'll see how this differential, is maintained throughout after these starting strokes.
Last year we had this matchup similar to this year. 1 through 5V had races, and the margins were tight. Princeton came away with a straight victory, sweeping every category. But this year, there's a lot of depth in both programs, so it'll be sure to make for some interesting racing, especially in this last 500 meters. But in this first 500 meters, coming up to the first 500 buoy, we have Navy up by about 3.5 seats on the Princeton 5V. And both boats looking like they're starting to settle into that base rate. Princeton understroking by about 1 to 2 beats. But both boats looking strong and powerful. Coming into the 500 meter mark, we have Princeton up by about half the length on the... Navy up by about half a length on the Princeton 5V.
Yeah, Navy's pulling away a bit. We got the coxswain sitting in between bow and 2-seat of the Princeton 5V. We'll see how this Princeton crew can respond.
Yeah, nothing to worry about for the Princeton crew here in this early on, but Navy is continuing to move forward a little bit, taking seats pretty consistently. So if Princeton wants to stay in this race, they're going to have to make a little bit of a response here, but nothing to worry about too much coming into this first about 750 of the race. As Princeton is down by about a length now to Navy. Both crews looking like they're stroking around the same rate, sitting around at 34, 35. They're picking up a little bit of wind here, but nothing challenging for these crews. Both crews used to rowing on some choppy water from now and then. The boys for Annapolis, more than Carnegie Lake men. But nothing either crew can't handle. Still looking pretty calm here as we're moving into the 1,000-meter mark.
Yeah, Navy settling into a really solid rhythm here. You can say they're keeping the power, more so than this Princeton crew. We've got some new faces in this Princeton 5V. We've got former Marine Chris Wilson sitting in 5-seat, and it's going to take those big guys to really power this boat back through.
That's right. Sitting down by about a length and a seat now is the Princeton 5V. Past the 1,000-meter mark. They will have to stay on it here coming into this sprint. Both crews looking fairly technically fit though. Not much upper body movement from either crew. Navy with good compression at the top end. Pretty short, quick upper body movements.
Princeton trying to close this lead back down. Looks like they've closed it from a seat of open to about a length of open, but they're going to need a lot more if they're going to want to pull this one off. Navy holding firm with about a length lead as we approach this last 500.
And the boys from Annapolis put up that length and the seat again for their lead coming into the last 500 meters.
Princeton still battling, looking like they're trying to close this length lead, but Navy's just been holding them off. It's going to take a lot, but if this Princeton boat can establish length and get these caches in, they'll have a chance.
Into about the last 400 meters here, Princeton trying to make a bit of a surge to come back. Navy holding pretty strong though. Coming into 300 meters. Princeton will have to go pretty early here. Knowing the Navy crews, they have a good start and a good sprint. But Princeton looks like they're starting to go. As we come into the last 250 meters, the red buoy line hits. Princeton has jacked their stroke rate up. Navy still sitting pretty considerably low for a sprint, but they're definitely moving. And now they've just brought the rate up.
Yeah, Navy with a trademark Navy sprint here. These guys are incredibly fit and tough, and it shows in their sprints especially.
As they maintain their lead of about a length on the Princeton 5V, it looks like they will be able to maintain it through the finish, coming into the last 10 strokes of this race. We have Navy displaying excellent fitness and depth in their 5V. Coming across the line now. And Princeton about 4 seconds behind that. Excellent racing from both crews. Navy with the early victory this Saturday morning in the 5V by about 4 seconds. So Isaac, you talked earlier, just at the end of that race, about the trademark Navy sprint. We heard from the